What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Renegade Animation on the Renegade Pop Culture Podcast Network. My name is Mike. I will be your host. Joining me, as always, is my co-captain, Cameron.
Howdy, howdy.
And returning once again, we've got Reuben.
Hello.
And today is a mostly news-heavy episode, but we've also got some things from Annecy 2021 to discuss. There's a lot to discuss, both positive and negative. But first, Cam, we have some unfortunate news to start with.
Yes, unfortunately, during all of this, Ned Beatty passed away, famed actor for films like Deliverance, and he was also the voice of lots of Huggin' Bear from Toy Story 3 and the mayor from Rango. This was a bummer. This is one of the actors that I am very familiar with. So it's a real shame he passed away. May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
Do you two have any thoughts?
No, nothing to add. Great actor. Sad he's dead.
Yeah, his filmography is like the stuff of legends, and he will forever be missed.
Some positive news, and Geek'd has finally made some moves in the distribution game. They picked up Mamoru Hosoda's upcoming film, Belle, which I still think is coming out next month in Japan.
Yes.
And they'll be giving it a theatrical release, and obviously in both Japanese and with an English dub this winter, and will qualify for the 2021 awards. I'm pumped. Mike and I have been kind of jokingly complaining about hey, Geek'd, what's the matter? Telling us you're going to bring over some movies.
As it turns out, they were just waiting for that big fish.
I mean, this is still probably my most anticipated film of the year, because I'm still looking forward to seeing Flea, and I'm still so sad I couldn't find time to watch that movie. Probably would have loved it.
Flea is excellent.
So now Frederator Films or a company of Frederator Films is going to bring over Chinese creators and talent for a program called Hot Pot Cartoons. They are bringing over creators from animation, comics, games, and theater, and they'll be making short films for the global markets. I'm not shocked that this is happening.
This isn't Frederator, this is Fred Films.
Oh, Fred Films, my bad.
Yeah, Fred Sievert started a new company. He left Frederator. I'm not entirely sure what's happening with Frederator at the moment, but yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Well, I guess it just sounds weird to me. It's just so you left Frederator, but now you have another company that's similar to your last one. Yeah.
He left Frederator last year, and he announced Fred Films in February.
Alrighty then. I mean, this sounds cool because the Chinese animation scene is really kicking in since 2015, and then especially in 2019 with the global success of Neza. I'm down for it. A lot of my favorite films, especially from Animation is Film 2019, were from China. I really loved watching White Snake on the big screen and seeing this stop motion film called She-He. I think that's how you pronounced it. Which was a stop motion film that commentated about society and just men and women's roles in it, and everyone was a shoe. And it sounds weird when you talk about it, but when you watch it, it's oh yeah, this makes sense. It's you got to trust my word on that kind of thing.
I've ever since you brought that film up, I've been dying to find some time to watch it, because it sounds as bizarre as the stuff that I'm usually into.
It was definitely from my memory of Animation is Film 2019, it was probably the emptiest theater when it was the last film on the second night of the festival, and I kind of felt bad because it's oh, I kind of like the look of this film, and granted it was very late at night, so that was probably the reason. We'll have to see how these shorts turn out. Next up one of my favorite animation directors, Sylvain Charmet, is making a new movie, and I am so happy about that. It seems like it's been forever since The Illusionist back in 2010. Well, yeah, I guess a decade is forever ago. It's called The Magnificent Life of Marcel Pagnol. I'm just excited. They have a preview image of it, and it looks exactly like the guy who made Triplets of Belleville and The Illusionist, and I'm just super pumped.
I remember last year or so, I watched The Triplets of Belleville for the first time, and when I asked Cameron about it, he said, "Oh, you mean the best animated film of 2003?"
It was one of the first foreign animated films to get nominated for an Oscar when they had the Best Animated Feature category. I think it might have been the first one, or
No, it was the second because Spirited Away won the year before.
okay, yeah, I was about to say like, or was that Spirited Away? No, this one, I think Spirited Away helped put more
Yeah,
films from overseas on there, and they picked a really good one.
yeah. Triplets of Belleville is great.
And I know not everyone likes or aren't as in love with the Illusionist, but it grew on me after I watched it. I'm just so happy to see another film from this guy. Like I said, it's been like 10 years. Issa Rae is joining the Spider-Verse sequel. Of course, people would know her from Insecure, The Hate You Give, Little, the Black Lady sketch show. She will be playing the role of Spider-Woman. I love Issa Rae as an actor, and I'm not too familiar with Spider-Woman specifically, but I know a lot of people like her. I unfortunately know a lot about her from the unfortunate designs and poses that they give the character in comics, aka they give him the rubber spine. Because it's like, you know how comics can be sometimes, where it's like spines don't work that way, guy.
Yeah, she had that Milo Manara cover.
Yeah, and but I'm excited. Like any time we get to hear more news about this, the best animated film from 2018, I'm down for that.
And just from a diversity perspective, getting more actors of color to to fill out this universe is just kind of awesome.
Yeah, no, we'll have to see how it unfolds. So, who had Lord of the Rings anime on their bingo card for 2021?
Specifically from the director of Ghost in the Shell standalone complex.
I don't think, yeah, this wasn't part of like Netflix's Geek'd Week. This was just Warner Brothers being like, oh yeah, by the way, we got an anime Lord of the Rings movie. Okay, here. Yeah, The War of the Rohirrim. Sorry if I butchered that. Yeah, but this is also the director Kenji Kamiyama. He worked on the 2017 film Napping Princess, which that was a personal favorite of mine from that year. And he's also working on that Blade Runner Black Lotus. It's a series, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure. Any thoughts?
I need this film immediately.
This is kind of a game changer because this means that an anime film, and this is actual anime, it's not like when Netflix calls Blood of Zeus or whatever anime just because they're trying to get attention. This is actually a film by a Japanese director and a Japanese animation studio, which is going to get a wide release and like proper marketing like you would expect a normal Lord of the Rings thing to get in theaters. So like this is absolutely going to break the record for highest grossing anime in theaters, or in American theaters, and it'll probably be like second to Simpsons movie as far as PG-13 animated movies in theaters. And this is like, it's a movie which like it's guaranteed to do well while also being a movie which by all traditional Hollywood logic would never get made. So this could be big.
Like, when was the last time a Japanese animated film got like a wide release?
And from like one of like the big six studios as well.
Yeah, like Warner Brothers released Pokemon, the first few movies wide, and this year we had Funimation, which is owned by Sony, giving Demon Slayer a fairly wide release, and that did really well. And I'm sure that the Lord of the Rings anime was already in the works, but I wouldn't be surprised if Demon Slayer's success was part of what made them determine their calculus to be like, okay, we're going to put this in theaters as opposed to, say, putting it on HBO Max. This would have been like more expected as an HBO Max or direct-to-video thing, like all the DC animated movies they do or something like that. But no, they're actually giving this a real theatrical release, and I'm like really excited.
Like, I think really Demon Slayer Mugen Train really did help break the barrier, because there were definitely some animated films from Japan that did well, but it was like always on the scale of like, well, they did well via the Fathom limited events releases. Mary and the Witch's Flower, then Promare did exceptionally well because it's Promare and it's great. And then Weathering with You did pretty well even before the pandemic shut everything down. Yeah, no, we'll have to see. Like, I can't wait. It's super exciting. So Shine Animation is teaming up with Miyu Productions for a new film called Ghost Cat Anzu. It's being adapted from the manga by Takashi Imashiro. and will be a mix of digital 2D and rotoscope for family and young audiences. And to focus on a story about a 11-year-old named Karine. When she is hoisted off by her father onto her grandfather, a monk living in a small Japanese country town, he asks Anzu, his helpful but capricious phantom cat, to watch over her. I'm just excited to see more like Japanese animated films. I understand. I just like hearing about new projects. I'm always a little worried that we're not going to get them because it's weird. The anime industry is always willing to give us whatever from the anime scene. They have really no reason to not give us, or at least try out, get like an anime over here. Even stuff like X-Arm, which should have just stayed in Japan and stayed in pre-production forever. But they never give us the films as much, or they're not as willing to for some reason, because I still want to see that Love Me Not film and that Her Blue Sky. There was another one from this year. Oh yeah, the words bubbling up like soda pop.
Speaking of X-Arm, are we talking about that expose that Anime News Network did on Crunchyroll Studios being a complete mess?
Yeah, I think let's talk about it, because a lot of these other stories won't be that long. Anyway, I'm just excited for this new film for Ghost Cat Anzu. It looks great. It looks cute. Yeah, no, I just can't wait for it.
Yeah, this sounds like a very if this ever ends up like getting some sort of wide release in the States, I think this might do really well. It sounds like a very cute premise that, you know, like they described, families and people of all ages can enjoy this one.
Yeah, and it's being a lot of big names on it. Director Yoko Kuno, who worked on films like Penguin Highway. The studio that's working on this film is also working on the work in progress film that was at Annecy, Blind Willow, Sleeping Woman, and it's working on a bunch of other films by like people like Sebastian Laudenbach, who did The Girl Without Hands. Again, one of my favorite films from 2017. Tom and Jerry's getting a new series called Tom and Jerry in New York, coming out July 1st on HBO Max.
Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's really it. It's using fairly cheap-looking Flash animation. Whatever you want to say about the movie's CGI animation, it looked so much better. And I haven't seen the show from the 2010s. I've seen clips of it. I'm just saying I haven't seen it fully. But from the clips I've seen, it had way better animation than this. I don't know what happened. And speaking of shows that I don't know why they asked for this, we're getting a TED series for Peacock, based off of the two Seth MacFarlane feature films about a foul-mouthed teddy bear, voiced by him and starring Mark Wahlberg. Okay, I feel like this series is going to be super expensive unless they're animating the whole thing, because they're going to have to have like a whole CGI character on screen at all times. And I know CGI animation hasn't evolved, and maybe it being on Peacock means they'll give it a little more time and a little more polish. Because you could have something like Game of Thrones in terms of quality, or you could have, no offense, Mike, the CW DC shows always look a little janky.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Peacock is also picking up the Retro Crush anime channel, which, well, I think they're like HBO Max. They want some kind of anime thing, and since Retro Crush has a ton of old school anime, they're going to add a whole lot of retro stuff to their service, which would make it definitely more appealing to me, even though I already have Retro Crush. But I guess let's talk before we move into the Netflix Geek'd stuff. Let's move on to the thing that Reuben referenced, the Anime News Network article that's talking about how Crunchyroll is just a dumpster fire. Reuben, how about you catch everyone up to date about it?
Yeah, so basically, Anime News Network has a new article titled Crunchyroll Originals Have Been a Disaster. And basically, he's talking about how basically trying to define what the different Crunchyroll originals are, like co-productions, which are like most of them, and like some of them have been okay, some of them have been really bad, such as X-Arm. There have been 2 shows made so far at Crunchyroll Studios in Burbank, 2 American cartoons, one of which, Onyx Equinox, has been released. The other, High Guardian Spice, has been finished for 2 years, but still hasn't been released. They're saying it's going to be released this summer, probably because the creator, Ray Rodriguez, got his lawyers involved. But yeah, I want to see that show. And of course, if anyone doesn't remember that show, that was the show which they released a trailer for, which didn't really talk about the show, but instead talked about the studio's diversity. And like, it wasn't a good trailer, but it also did not deserve the sheer hatred that so many people have given in the project and the people involved with the project because of that. So there's that. And I guess like the big scoop from this article is that Crunchyroll's Tokyo studio has been shut down. They had 2 shows in the work. Meiji Gekken, which is now being moved to another studio, and Freak Angels, which is kind of in limbo at the moment due to being based on a Warren Ellis comic. Who knows what's going to happen with that. And then the other types of originals, there's a few co-productions they've done with Sola Entertainment, which have actually been the ones that have done well. Those have been in Tower of God, God of High School, and they're doing also managing the various Adult Swim productions. So yeah, well, there are also some other Adult Swim productions that don't involve Sola. But yeah, the Adult Swim productions, like, they're co-productions with Crunchyroll, but who knows what's going to happen with those in the future. Crunchyroll does get sold to Sony.
Yeah, no, this was a lot to unpack reading this article, because it's like I've talked about this through 2 different podcasts, talking about like I guess 3 now, the fall 2020 season, the winter 2021, and then the spring 2021. Crunchyroll was like hit or miss, or just like in really bad shape. And then like this spring season, which brought, of course, a bunch of amazing shows like Odd Taxi and Tokyo Revengers. But then it's like, you looked at their exclusives and originals, it just made me think that, like, even before they were going to get, like, if they're going to get bought out by Sony, if this is what their productions were going to be like, that's a big old yikes.
Yeah, like reading this article and thinking about like the initial rumors that Sony was trying to purchase Crunchyroll, I'm thinking like, what the hell did Sony see in them of value if like internally they had no idea what was going on?
Like, what happened with Crunchyroll? Like, did it just expand too fast and then just like jumped into like the co-anime production without really thinking through?
Well, it seems I blame AT&T. It seems that the dividing line between Crunchyroll being a by fans for fans company, which was transparent and would talk to any press, and them being like weird and secretive about stuff, was when they were bought by AT&T. So basically, they've been messed up the same way Cartoon Network has been messed up, the same way Warner Brothers is getting messed up. Basically, AT&T bad management all around.
Yeah, or like in that other article talking about Luca and Pixar, the one for the AV Club, when Disney bought Pixar and such. So no, it's all been a hot mess. And like, I liked Tower of God and I enjoyed the God of High School up until I was like, okay, the story's a hot mess. Bye. And then there was stuff like X-Arm and the worst anime of 2020, Jibiate. That one was just awful. It's just, golly. Talk about an endurance test of a show. And then, yeah, like the Crunchyroll studios in Tokyo, I never heard of this one. Yeah, with the whole Warren Ellis situation, just woof. It just seemed like Crunchyroll was just not in a good spot after AT&T. And even though I was like, oh, I kind of liked Over the Moon to You, or whatever that romance anime was called, and I enjoyed a little bit of So I'm a Spider, So What? But it's also like they were adding on to an already like fraught industry that is the anime industry, which is already going through its own nightmarish hellscape of production issues. So we'll just have to see what happens with that. I hope Crunchyroll can get back on track, but we'll have to see. They have to stop investing so much in a lot of bad productions. They cannot have another X-Arm.
No, they cannot.
No, that one was worse watching than Jibiate, and I also argue it was a more painful watch than Redo of Healer, but Redo of Healer is already its own train wreck. We won't get into that. So Netflix had its own Geek'd week per se. And this is when they were talking about like all their new upcoming shows, like Sweet Tooth, which are, of course, obviously a lot of these are already out. And then they saved most of their animation stuff for the 4th day. And the teaser for the Cowboy Bebop live action series sounds great, but we're here to talk about most of the animation stuff because that's what they were doing. And one of the big first announcements was the Masters of the Universe Revelations teaser. Definitely like kind of confirms what Mike and I thought when we saw the stills from it, that it looked like it was kind of paying homage to the original, but was taking more cues from the 2000s reboots. I'm going to have to say, I'm going to ban the use of I Need a Hero. Like no other teasers and marketing can use that song.
This trailer is that song's swan song.
Yeah, because didn't it, like, I think it popped up like after, because E3 also happened and it played during the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer
and it was
reveal.
also in Loki episode 2.
Good lord.
It reminds me of that time in, I think it was 2017, when this one John Denver song kept popping up in every song, every movie.
Yeah. There was like a few John Denvers that were popping up in everything.
But what did overall think about the teaser?
It looks amazing. I haven't caught up with Castlevania or some of the other Netflix anime, but I'm just in general a big fan of what Powerhouse is doing for Netflix animation, and I was a pretty big fan of the 2002 He-Man reboot. So to see another series kind of embracing that aesthetic while also paying homage to the 80s cartoon, it just seems like it's going to be a win for everyone.
Reuben, what did you think?
After She-Ra, my interest in He-Man is entirely determined based on how gay it is. So basically, if He-Man and or Skeletor are gay in this is going to be the best show of the year. If there's at least, they aren't officially gay, but there is at least one other officially gay male hero in the show, okay, you get a pass. If you don't have any gay men in the show, then you're failing.
Well, yeah, I think you showed me or reminded me of that Rantasmo video that talked about He-Man's like impact on the LGBT scene, because like I was kind of unaware. It's just like because of early internet and terrible content creators, everyone made it a punchline of how quote unquote gay the show is. And then I saw that Rantasmo video about it, and it's like, oh well, that's nice. Those content creators are just jerks that use it as a punchline, punching down. Yeah, no, I think it looks good. I mean, it's Powerhouse. I kind of wish they would go to a different studio for once, or make another studio or something to make these quote unquote anime and action shows. I have faith in Kevin Smith. I like it looks good. I will say I think my favorite thing was that the fact that they changed Adam's design from when he's Prince and He-Man, only because it's like I get why the 80s show was as it was, but it always just made me laugh that nobody could tell that Prince Adam was He-Man, even though they had the same body type.
Yeah.
It's like, we never see you two in the same room, but you have the same hair, the same body type. I think you two would get along very well. No. Then, of course, we got a little teaser for the Loud House movie that's coming out to Netflix. I'm still shocked that's coming to Netflix. I guess it's a deal, like a licensing deal thing, because
like Nickelodeon has like sold so many things to Netflix already. Like they sold Glitch Text, they sold the Rocco and Zim specials.
Yeah, I guess I was as shocked since Paramount Plus is a thing now. And
yeah, well,
a lot
Paramount
of
Plus
Nickelodeon
doesn't seem to like really care about anything except for SpongeBob and Rugrats, I guess.
Yeah. And then of course, like, they announced that Zack Snyder is making an animated series.
Well, they announced that a while ago. They just announced the actors.
Yeah. Well, this was the first time I heard about this. They talked about Twilight of the Gods. That will include Sylvia Hoek, Stuart Martin, Pilu Asbæk, John Noble, Patterson Joseph, Raul Coley, Jamie Clayton, Christopher Eveju, Peter Stormare, Jamie Chung, Lauren Cohen, and Corey Stoll as the main characters. That's a good cast.
Yeah, I'm happy to see Jamie Clayton in there.
And I like Christopher Eveju.
Yeah,
because I mean, outside of Game of Thrones and such. And I'm always a fan of Peter Stormare. I like seeing him pop up everywhere, even when I'm not expecting him. Like in the Animaniacs reboot, he did that Pennywise parody.
Oh wait, that was him?
Yeah, that was him.
Wow.
He was probably one of the better things about that Penguins of Madagascar film. And of course, I'm a fan of Corey Stoll. Then they also announced the Gundam movie, Gundam Hathaway. And of course, insert Anne Hathaway jokes here. That looked pretty good, and I heard it's doing well in Japan right now.
Yeah, I've heard it makes no sense if you aren't like up to date on every single UC Gundam show. So catch up if you want to watch it.
That's kind of a bummer because I haven't really caught up with Gundam. I kind of stopped after Gundam Seed just because I was growing out of anime at the time, and I was just kind of like, man, I was getting kind of tired of the melodrama and then the whole ever-going battle of Gundam of being anti-war, but also we got to sell a bunch of models and we got to make the action look cool, even though the overall message is war is bad, okay? No.
Yeah, Gundam's politics are a bit schizophrenic, but I'm down to one day attempt to catch myself up with all of these series. The last one I got really invested in was G Gundam, and that's because it was the most shonen of all the
So like just note that for Pathway, you only need to be caught up with the Universal Century Gundam series. So like G Gundam and Seed, those are alternate universes. So you
right.
watch those.
Yeah, this is the one that has like the original show with Char and such.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I woefully not caught up, but it looked cool. Like.
Yeah.
I don't know. It got me kind of pumped to see something new with Gundam. Even though I've heard Blood Orphans is good. I know Mario Okada worked on that, and I know my friend was fond of Gundam Unicorn. And then of course we got some updates with the release of the new Shaman King reboot, August 9th, which I'm happy about that. I was kind of too old to watch Shaman King when it became popular in the US, and then of course Discotech announced that they're going to release the original early 2000s series. So
yes,
that's good for fans of the franchise. And I know our co-host of the anime season rundowns, Haley, is super pumped for Shaman King, and I'm pumped to get into it.
I was a big fan of Shaman King, not necessarily when it originally came out in the early 2000s, but I caught the entire series. Like I don't remember where I found it, but I watched the whole thing back in like 2008 in Japanese, and man, this show is just so good. I'm excited for the reboot, for mostly for new fans to experience what made the show so special.
Mm-hmm. And they also updated with the release of Eden Zero, the new anime from the creator of Fairy Tail and Rave Masters, for August 26th. And I had my I don't know kind of thoughts. Like, it looks a little too familiar to Fairy Tail because it's, the same guy. I'm just not fond of his work. I saw a trailer for, I think, like, the trailer, like, before it was released in Japan. And I was like, oh, okay, this looks a little more better, even if it still has a bunch of familiar elements to Fairy Tail. But yeah, no, I'm pumped for that. Are you two looking forward to Eden Zero to at least check it out?
Yeah, I mean, it has my curiosity.
I never got into Fairy Tail, so not super hyped for Eden Zero, but I might give it a watch.
I tend to find like curiosity watches can lead to like, oh yeah, now I like that show or whatever. Then of course they talked about Transformers: War for Cybertron Kingdom, the final mini-series part of the War for Cybertron trilogy, which seems like it's going to take place with a mix of the Transformers during this trilogy and then Beast Wars. That sounds crazy. I want to watch it.
Yeah, one of these days we're gonna have to do a whole episode devoted to this whole War for Cybertron trilogy because there's a lot.
Yeah, no, I was a huge Beast Wars fan when I was a kid, and even though a lot of the CGI has not held up, the story and characters still do for the most part. And of course, you had David Kaye as Megatron, and he's just the best. And then we also got a look at Exception, a new horror anime series by Hirotaka Adachi, with character designs by Yoshitaka Amano. I'm a little worried about that because, it's super hard to translate his work. And we saw what happened with Ghibli. It did not look good. I'm wondering if being a Netflix anime, which isn't always a given, will help, or it'll at least have a better team behind it. That one teaser image is just nightmare fuel for days.
Yeah, that teaser image is effective.
Yeah. I don't know if it's based off of anything. I don't know if it's like an original or if it's based off of a manga or something, but it looks good. It kind of slipped under the announcements because I know everyone on my feed was just like Shaman King, Shaman King. And then this one was also kind of slipped under the radar. Make My Day, a teaser for a new movie, which has like the synopsis is, on a cold planet of ice and snow, mysterious creatures suddenly have appeared from the dark underground and have begun to attack the inhabitants. Can humanity survive the terror looking beyond the horizon? From the teaser image, it looks pretty interesting. There's not much else I can say. I didn't see, there wasn't really like a teaser trailer or anything from what I saw, but kind of like a cool action horror anime film. That sounds good to me.
Yeah, I'm into that.
And here's one that definitely slipped under my radar. Maybe I just was being dumb and not paying attention. Bright's getting a prequel.
Why?
It's called Bright Samurai Soul, which is about Izo, a Ronin, and Raiden, an orc, work to bring a young elf girl and the wand she carries to the land of the elves and the north. Yeah,
Fairy lives don't matter today.
Oh, that movie was terrible.
Fun fact, I have still not seen Bright, and
I've seen the clips of that, and those clips were enough.
I sat through the whole movie. Can't say I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an animated film. That'd be cool as long as you know who's not attached to it.
Yeah, hopefully Landis is not involved in any way.
Yeah, no. But I kind of like the visual that goes with it, and I could see it being kind of more interesting with a like being an anime film and such. But we'll have to see. And then of course, they showed off Godzilla Singular Point, which still looks great. They talked about Resident Evil, The Infinite Darkness, which is coming out later next month. I thought, these were some fun announcements, some weird ones, like, again, Bright Samurai Soul is a weird one. I don't know. They had some fun announcements. Like, I haven't seen a lot of this, like the live action stuff. I've just been woefully behind and just tired from work. Some good animation announcements. I mean, warts and all, Netflix is doing better support for animation than most main line TV channels right now. So
yeah, there's no question that Netflix is excelling in ways that others aren't.
And yeah, to be clear, there are definitely flaws with how Netflix handles everything, and
marketing, for example.
Yeah. Marketing, release strategies, and such, and there's definitely a lot to criticize. I'm not saying like, oh well, they're creative and supportive of animation, so that means that everything else gets a free pass. It's like, no, don't think like that. Let's talk about the main event.
Hold on, there's one more thing I want to bring up. We got a little preview clip for the Cuphead show with Wayne Brady as King Dice.
I forgot about I forgot that was Geek'd week. That was cool that they showed a new clip. I know. I mean, of course, the three of us watched the work in progress for last year, and I was a huge fan of what I saw. And seeing this new clip was a lot of fun. And Wayne Brady sounds like he's having fun. I still wish there was a release date, but what did y'all think of the clip?
It looks a lot. This clip looks a lot closer to the video game than like the work in progress footage that we saw.
Well, we've obviously had more time to polish the animation.
That's a good point.
And I'm curious to see how they tell a story with all these characters, because the game was just like, Cuphead and Mugman sold their souls. Now they got to take care of all these other random citizens that owe their lives to the devil and such. I'm wondering how they're going to expand on everyone, because it was definitely a very abstract and weird world, to say the least, or to put it lightly. But I'm looking forward to it. Let's talk about Annecy. And to be clear, there are some other announcements, but they tie into Annecy, so we'll talk about them when we talk about them. Overall, before we dive into like the pros and cons, overall thoughts? Mike, what did you think of Annecy?
So, full disclosure, out of the three of us, I'm the one kid in the class who did the least amount of work, but mostly because the way that Annecy was set up this year was, to put it lightly, a disaster. Compared to last year, things didn't run as smoothly. We didn't really get a lot of access to any of the features. So most of what I saw from the festival were a couple of the work in progress panels, some of the previews, and just like the sort of general studio panels. Like I saw one for Disney's EMEA group. I saw the Netflix adult animation panel and the the other Netflix panel. Those had some nice previews for their upcoming slate. On the whole, I just wish that Annecy was a little bit better presented. But from what I've heard, we still got a lot of cool announcements from this.
All right, Reuben, what did you think?
Yeah, so like I'd say as far as organization as a digital festival, it was definitely less organized than last year. And like I'm not complaining that we didn't get features this year, because like for one thing, most of the features last year, like or that they were allowed to stream, were like mostly the less interesting ones.
Right.
And obviously they have to do an in-person event, so let them do the in-person event. I hope to go someday. I'm sure that's amazing. The thing that annoyed me this year was that the panels were very hard to navigate. It wasn't very organized website-wise. And then also on a lot of the panels, they had an issue where they promised they'd be available in both French and English, but then it would take them several days. And even at the end of the festival, there were a couple panels which either weren't uploaded entirely or didn't have an English translation ready. Fortunately, those panels will be accessible through the end of the year for anyone who already signed up for Annecy. So if you want to catch the Mars Express or Blind Willow Sleeping Woman panels, which were the work in progress panels that I couldn't report on because of either being untranslated or unavailable, I guess those will be up. They might even be up now. I haven't checked today, but yeah, it could have been better put together, but I understand they were probably putting more of their efforts into the in-person festival this year.
Yeah, I'm kind of mixed. I enjoyed it overall. I got my $50 worth out of it. Overall, I mean, I still enjoyed it overall. I loved the panels and the work in progress stuff and the shorts and the 2 old films that they showed, Foam Bath or Bubble Bath, as it's called. It has like 3 different names. And then like Son of the White Mare. And then we saw the preview for A New Old, Masaki Yuasa's new film, and Space Jam: A New Legacy. But I get why they focused more on having an in-person event, and I understand the legal hoops that they have to jump through to if they wanted to put the films online. I mean, I'll talk about this in my criticisms. I wish there were some, because I'm sure some of these have no or very little market appeal out. Like, of course, like I guess let's talk about the films that were in competition. There was Flea, which is already being distributed by Neon and was the big winner at the Annecy Film Festival. And then we have Hayapka, or You Animal, which has a release everywhere else on Netflix except for the US. I'm wondering exactly when we're going to get that. And then, of course, the released earlier this year, Zhangjia, The Legend of Deification, which I pretty enjoyed. And then Josie the Tiger and the Fish, which got picked up by Funimation and will get a release next month. And then there's La Traverse, which was also a big winner at Annecy. Then we got Lamia's Poem, which Reuben and I got screeners for. Reuben, you got a screener for My Sunny Maud.
Yes, I did.
And then
I like that one more than Lamia's Poem.
Yeah, I thought Lamia's Poem was pretty solid. Nothing I am going to rush back to.
I was like bored by it. It felt too much like, it's like it's a studio and directors who like mostly done like preschool shows, and it felt like it was the techniques of a preschool show
right
applied to a story, which obviously isn't for preschoolers.
Right. I did an interview with the director, so if anyone wants to read that. Then, of course, some of the other films include Popele of Chimney Town, which I'm waiting for you, Geek'ds. Buy the freaking movie. And then there is Snotty Boy, which they said was going to be one of the films watchable online, but then it just wasn't.
I don't know. Or maybe it was, but I don't know. Maybe that's just how badly the site was organized. Like, because they said we're streaming. I have no clue where they were streaming.
Because they were going to stream 3 films, and 2 of them were in the Contra Champs section, which, of course, one of them kind of like, is this one animation? I saw the trailer for the Mount Fuji scene from a moving train, and it just didn't look like it counted as animation. It was like this year's Accidental Luxuriance. And then the Ape Star, which got bought out by Viva Kids, and then the Deer King, which Geek'ds also bought, which they're setting for a 2022 release, though I'm sure with the other major animation festival coming out later this year, which I'm pumped for, but we'll talk about that soon. It's going to play there as well. And then from the Contra Champs section, we had Absolute Denial, and then the award-winning Archipel, which if y'all haven't seen the trailer for that, it's trippy It looks great. Then there is that Bob Spit, We Do Not Like People, which was one of the major award winners at the festival. City of Lost Things, Chicken of the Mound, which was going to be watchable, but wasn't. Climbing, Crypto Zoo, which already had its premiere at Sundance, the Mount Fuji from a Moving Train, and then My Uncle Jose, which looked really cool. Like I see the image for it. I guess that's the first con issue that I had. I wish some of these films were watchable. Like even if they were like the least interesting of the bunch, I would have still at least enjoyed seeing them, because it didn't feel like a film festival to me. It felt more like a convention panel like kind of thing.
Well, well, obviously the film festival part of it online is the short films, which there are a lot of, and
they were pretty good ones. Like I really liked, what was it called, The Affair of Art?
Yeah, Affairs of the Art. I loved that one.
And I liked the box ballet one, but it's not like I didn't like the shorts. I wish there was something there. Though I will say I did watch Foam Bath. That is a trippy movie. If y'all can find a way to watch that movie from 1979, it's a trip. It's probably the one time where you can say being off model is the point.
I need to find a way to watch that, because from what you described, it sounds insane.
Yeah, and I'm also glad we were able to stream Clay Dream, which was a really interesting documentary. We'll definitely look at Laika in a different light.
I forgot to see that documentary, so I felt really bummed because I love Will Vinton and his work. Yeah, no, I'm curious now. Now I'm curious to see how they talk about Laika. So
for its worth, Vinton held no grudges and appreciated that Laika was making great movies, but also a lot of things will change for you once you have witnessed Travis Knight as Chili T, who basically a really bad white rapper who delivers subpar verses about his dick.
I've actually known about that, so
yeah, I remember stories about Travis Knight's
failed.
Yeah, his short-lived hip-hop career.
Oh, that guy. Ugh. But for me, the biggest pro was the work in progress section, because I love looking at film production. Well, at least with animation, and I didn't see Ascenders, but I really loved The Peasant, which is done by the people who made Loving Vincent. Like I showed the trailer to my parents, or the concept trailer, and they were just like, okay, when is this coming out? Because we really enjoyed it. I know not everyone was, but and then we got to see a little bit of Fina, Pirate Princess. I liked that one. I liked hearing the director discuss the show, and just like he sounded very passionate alongside the producer and such. It's going to be curious to see how the final product is, especially with everything going on with Crunchyroll. Then we saw like one for like The Siren, which looked interesting. Some of these were like, I wish they showed a little more, because part of it came off like, here's what we're working on, and then the other part was, we're going to show you what we're working on, so maybe you'll help fund or distribute the film, because there just wasn't a whole lot. And especially since some of these weren't in English to listen to, like subtitled or dub, it was tough to watch, or at least to kind of fully understand.
Yeah, they eventually translated that panel, fortunately.
Awesome. Then like Little Nicholas, I found that one really charming. I love the animatics, and then like when they're showing off like the finished animation and such, it gave me very like Ernest and Celestine vibes. I agree with your article, Reuben, talking about it. And though I think my favorite was Maya and the Three.
I was gonna say that one was my favorite, because just hearing Jorge Gutierrez just geeking out like a kid, just excited to talk about a project that he's spent years working on, and all of the like character designs, the character models, they look amazing, and the story sounds really fascinating. He describes it as a 6-hour movie broken up into 9 episodes, and yeah, I just need to see this as soon as possible.
Those clips were a lot of fun, and I really loved how his designs translated into it. And yeah, I just loved Jorge. I just think he's one of my
not all of his designs, and credit is due to Sandra Equia, his wife, who does all of the female character designs for his work.
Those two, like, I just love them. I would like to meet them someday. Just to like take a photo or something, or just be like, hey, just love y'all's work. And the animation looked really good. Like, I don't know what I was I don't know if like what I was exactly expecting this show to look like, but I love
well, it looks like the Book of Life minus the puppet effects. So it's
pretty much, yeah.
And I just loved the little interactions, like the father and the mother. Like really, the father was my favorite character. I love those kind of characters and such. And I love that his first weapon is this, like, well, compared to him, this tiny bat or club thing. And I just liked his interactions with the mother and such, where he's just like, it was an honor for everyone to die by your mama's beautiful hands. It's just a lot of that concept art looked great. Like, oh man, I can't wait to get a screener for this when it comes out later this year. And then we also had a Neola, which was dubbed. Reuben, what did you think about this one?
It looks and sounds interesting. Like it's another very serious war story. It's based on a play, and I'm curious about it.
Yeah, no, some of the animation I saw during that panel looked pretty good, or just at least interesting, kind of like rotoscoped or motion captured look. But the art style is very like visually distinct, and I support the direction they're going for it. Focusing on the women, the perspective from them about the war and such. It sounds like they're taking steps to be very respectful and faithful.
I really like the aesthetic of this one too. And yeah, that perspective on war through the eyes of the women it probably won't make this an easy watch, but I'm sure it'll be fulfilling.
To me, it's like an uncomfortable watch can be a good watch, if that makes sense. Like, yes. And then this one I was super pumped for, Perlimps, by the director of Boy in the World from 2015. Watch that movie, by the way. It's great. And I liked these the panels that had more to show, and I loved the animation production and just how they were going about it with the like seeing the director just like paint these backgrounds and then by hand and then toss it onto a computer and then draw like the trees, the bushes and such. It's such a distinct looking movie, and I just love this director.
Yeah, like it seems like it's a bit more traditional story wise than Boy in the World, but just as beautiful animation wise.
Yeah, no,
yeah, but don't ask me what a perlimp is. The presentation didn't really answer that question.
Yeah, no question about it. Don't ask.
Don't ask, just accept.
Yeah. And then Princess Dragon. That one was really cool. At first, it was like the Little Nicholas presentation for me, where I was like, okay, this is cool. I like seeing the concept art. I wish there was some animation to show, and then they actually showed it. This is like early Ghibli and Wolfwalkers combined, and I like that. Of course, like you said, Reuben, in your article, there's a CGI dragon, but I like how they're approaching the dragon animation with this. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I kind of wish I had a chance to see this panel, but just looking at the preview image, it looks very nice.
Yeah, you still have the chance to see it because I think you can still watch panels, and it seems as if even like the video library is still open, so I think you can still stream stuff from the festival even though the festival is over.
Yeah, no, they took down the Inuo preview, and then they showed off our first look at Robin from Aardman Entertainment, and
looks adorable.
They took a different approach with their animation and with the felt design instead of using plasticine and what have you. I liked the cat. Oh, it's kind of funny to hear and be like, oh yeah, we inspired her voice to be like a Margaret Thatcher voice, and the little teaser was super cute. I can't wait for it. Aardman's usually a pretty reliable studio to get a good film or show or what have you from.
Yeah, their track record is pretty flawless. I can't think of a single bad production from Aardman.
And they also seem like one of the most respectable studios just from like how they run as a company. I mean, they're like a socialist collective. Like all the workers own equal share in the company, and they seem like really cool people.
I was a little disappointed by this, even though I'm still looking forward to the show, the Samurai Rabbit Ryusegi Chronicles. I just wanted to see a little more. I mean, the concept art and the story sounds interesting. I guess I just wanted to see more of the animation and such. But that's just me. Like
what they saw, the 3D scenes looked good. The 2D scenes seemed very limited.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping they'd be like those. You two have seen those like Kung Fu Panda specials. Yeah, that like I was hoping for something kind of like that, but when they were just stills or motion comic style stuff, I was like, oh, that's it.
Does this have a release date yet?
No, it does not.
No, and I'm wondering how complete this show is, even without taking the COVID pandemic thing into the equation. Because it seems like they just didn't have a lot to show off outside of concept art. But it sounds like the creator is down with the show, so...
Yeah, so I guess we've covered basically all of the watchable panels, except for the house, which, okay, looks interesting, looks weird. And then the other one was Unicorn Wars, which, that one looks very interesting and very weird.
Yes, that one was my favorite. I mean, my second favorite next to Maya and the 3. I loved how they would keep talking and then they'd keep showing the animation process, but for like this one really violent scene. And it's just like, this person seems to like this scene a little too much. But like, just playfully, of course. I'm just saying that because it's just like...
It's Apocalypse Now meets Bambi meets the Bible.
Yeah. This movie looks nuts, and I am all for it. I mean, I was a huge fan of Bird Boy and the Forgotten Children when I saw it back in 2017.
I still like to see that.
It's dark. Be ready. I mean, and the house was really interesting, this little anthology series, and I didn't know anything about it. I just saw the preview image from the Annecy website, and it's like, oh, okay. Then I watched it. And then I see the first short is done by the people who did This Magnificent Cake. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm pumped. Like, I love the symbolicness element of the animals in the other two shorts. And, of course, it's just cool to see stop motion. Did not know that this was for Netflix. It just looked really nice. I mean, I'm curious to see. And if you haven't seen This Magnificent Cake, it's a very dark 45 minutes. But because, it's about colonialism in the Congo. So, a happy topic.
Of course.
Not really. And then the Netflix panels came up and we got to see like little bits of the what did we see? We saw the Centaur World premiere or the reveal. That show looks really fun. I love the animation for that, and I love the cast with Kimiko Glenn
and the fact that it's a musical. It just kind of completes the package for me.
I connected to the giraffe centaur. He is my favorite character. And I love the little clip of the musical sequence, and then it's like fending off a deadly invasion of warriors, and they're like, shh, don't, no, don't talk about that, no, shh, no, that didn't happen, shush. That was a very cute one, and we got to see a little more of Back to the Outback. That film looks cute. It looked really appealing, and I loved I like the animation that they showed. They showed a clip of it, and I showed my sister it, and she got a good laugh out of it. The koala is a major D-bag.
Voiced by Tim Minchin.
Yeah, they showed, it looks great, and then they showed some concept art and production stuff from Vivo, which looked really charming, and I loved the human character that's connected to Vivo, not the little girl, but the one beforehand, Vivo's owner. It's going to be played by one of the founding members of the Buena Vista Social Club. I was like, oh man, I have to tell my parents that they're huge fans of the movie that's about them. And it looked really appealing. The art looked amazing. I know that like there's that whole discussion going on with In the Heights, and it seems like Vivo's going to carry some of that representation that In the Heights may have missed out on.
Another note about some of Lin-Manuel Miranda's recurring collaborators. The screenplay is written by Chiara Hudes, and the score will be composed by Alex Lacamoire and Bill Sherman.
That was just a fun one, and cool to hear Ludacris talk about his show, or Chris Bridges. It was just kind of cool to hear him talk about the show and just how passionate he is for it. And then they showed like the Netflix adult animation panel, and we got to see the first little sneak peek at Alex Hirsch's new show. I could see how this one needs to maybe be handled with a soft touch, I guess you can say, because it's an office comedy that takes place with the quote-unquote shadow government. And how they talked about like, oh yeah, it's a show where every conspiracy theory is actually true. What did y'all think about that?
Yeah, they noted that they had to make sure that you're only doing the fun conspiracies.
Yeah, because yeesh.
Yeah, because there's so much. You're gonna have to be careful because even like the funny conspiracies, there is overlap between the funny and the dangerous. Like for example, like I'm sure they're gonna have to do something with lizard people, but like the guy who's like the big lizard people proponent, David Icke, is like super anti-Semitic,
Right.
and sees the lizard people as being sort of the Jews. Yeah. Fortunately, Alex Hirsch is Jewish, so like if anyone's gonna be making jokes about this stuff, it should be someone like him.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd say I trust how Hirsch and what's the name of the show's creator? Yeah, she's another Gravity Falls writer. Shion Takeuchi.
Yep.
Yeah. No.
I think they'll do a good job with it.
Yeah, and then
The preview animation definitely looks very Rick and Morty-esque.
Right. Yeah, that one does look interesting. We'll have to see. I'm kind of down for it. I'm a little like, I know a while back Alex Hirsch was like, yeah, getting to work at Netflix means there's no limitations. And it's like, okay, I hope that's a good thing and not like we're going to be as raunchy, shocking and offensive as possible. So
well, I mean, it could be both.
Of course. But I trust Alex Hirsch.
Really good.
Yeah, no, I trust Alex Hirsch is going to make this like really interesting, and of course they showed off some other stuff, some clips.
Like before this, he was dealing with Disney, and just like I respect that man so much for just going off on Disney when they deserve it,
right?
Especially in regards to how they like promote Pride stuff, but they still try to give queer creators a hard time when it comes to representation in anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, come on, Disney, you got to do better. No more excuses.
The second I knew that Alex Hirsch had my respect for life was last year when the Owl House episode, the Grom Night episode premiered, and he kind of peeled back the curtain, talked about everything that Disney wouldn't let him do during Gravity Falls. Just hearing him like passionately defending LGBT creators.
Especially since like the creator of the LGBT creator of the Owl House is also his girlfriend. So
right, like even taking that, putting that aside, it's still great that like he cares so much, pretty much everyone, but especially marginalized individuals. That I trust him with a premise like Inside Job that could be like it could run the risk of being raunchy for the sake of raunchy, but trust him and Shion Takeuchi to deliver something of quality.
Right. And then of course they had a bunch of other like just teases of upcoming shows. I know they showed off the next show that's by the people who made Paradise PD, so I guess we'll have to see how that one goes. And then they talked about the new spin-off series I think it's called Human Resources by Nick Kroll and the team behind Big Mouth.
Yep.
And it was kind of cute to see that clip of seeing one of the kids from Big Mouth just be like, I want to talk to your manager. And the monster woman's like, oh yeah, just go down that dark hallway. And it's just like, okay. It's like, well, what are you waiting for? Go down there. He's there. The boss is waiting for you. And then, of course, there was the Netflix anime panel, which talked about the new anime from Clamp, which is about the Brothers Grimm, which I'm going to be interesting to see because I know recently Clamp had that issue with one of the Tokyo Babylon reboots and the whole plagiarism fiasco there. And seeing them have like a new project in the works, that looks kind of interesting. And then the Studio Bones animated Super Crooks based off of the Mark Miller comic and being directed by Motonobu Hori, who worked on Carol and Tuesday. Looked interesting. I wish there was a little more to see, but I liked seeing these different panels. I think they definitely helped make things a little more worth it. I definitely want to talk about the preview with Inuo, since they showed us the first 5 minutes of what will be Masaki Yuasa's final film for now. I'm sure he'll come back in a few years or so after he's taken a break. I thought that was a great little preview.
Yeah, that looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Just the animation, Yuasa is just so cool as a director. Like he'll say like, screw you to consistent character designs. I want to make my characters bend and bounce like Tex Avery cartoons, or like he'll go the route of like Devilman Crybaby and have a more serious toned film. And then of course he's working with the character designer behind Tenkakencrete, so that gives it a very distinct visual look. I definitely want to know what the heck exactly came out of the woman who was giving birth to a kid, because I must have missed something if humans look like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what the hell am I looking at here?
Like I'm getting sort of Dororo vibes.
Yeah.
I've met a kid who is like, obviously has like some sort of birth defect, but it's like so extreme that it like becomes fantasy.
Yeah, I feel like Yuasa seems like that kind of guy who's like, I'm not going to punch down. I mean, if you've seen Japan Sinks, obviously. I'm sure it's going to be great. I can't wait for Geek'ds to show it this year. I'm sure it's going to show up at Animation as Film. And then the other preview was... Oh, well, before we get to the other preview...
Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam!
Yeah, I guess let's talk about Space Jam 2, because they also released a new trailer recently, and they had a 12-minute preview with like a 5-minute clip of the 2D animated sequence that they show parts of in the trailer.
So I guess the big headline from that is that Foghorn Leghorn is a Targaryen, Yosemite Sam has replaced Sam at Rick's Bar in Casablanca, and also Granny and Speedy live in the Matrix.
Yeah. I know I've been very vocal about like, I don't like the original Space Jam's existence, and I'm really just kind of mixed on this sequel, even though it has like a way better talent team behind it.
Yeah, like
and LeBron James, he'll be great, but this didn't really help.
Nothing in the advertising seems like it's going to be good, but I am kind of curious of how far the train wreck goes.
And well, one of the animators talked about saying like, "Oh, don't worry, it's going to be a mostly animated film. Depending on how long this movie is, I want them to not be vague like that. Okay, what is mostly?
Is it going to be like Sponge Out of Water, where the marketing made it seem like it was a live action animated hybrid, whereas in reality it was mostly animated except for the climax? I'm wondering if that's sort of the same deal with this, but we'll just have to wait and see. All I can say based on the preview is they're really committing to giving the Looney Tunes more personality, or more, I want to say, authentic personality, but then also going full diving headfirst into the stream, like the serververse.
And they really haven't convinced me that, like, the stuff with Granny's going to be great. That stuff was just, I was like, oh my gosh, I do not like what they're doing with this character. Even though I kind of get it, but it's not even that unique of a gimmick per se. I guess like
it's one of those things that's just been done like a million times before.
So here's a scary thought. Given that they're trying to get in like all the big Warner Brothers properties, is J.K. Rowling gonna be involved in this?
She better not. No, it's
yeah. And I guess my other question is: are they going to include any Cartoon Network or Adult Swim characters, or are those like the bastard stepchildren of Warner Media that don't get invited to the Space Jam? Because I haven't seen any in any of the previews, and part of me like wants to put money on Pickle Rick showing up, but part of me is like, they haven't shown any sign of anything Cartoon Network or Adult Swim related, so maybe I shouldn't do that.
The Cartoon Network characters do not get to jam and slam. No. I was a little disappointed when it's like they were going to talk about how they worked with like Zendaya and with Lola's design. They didn't really spend a whole lot of time on that. I don't know. It's like they keep advertising and hyping up like Zendaya's Lola Bunny, because granted, Lola Bunny was the best character from the original movie, the most efficient character. And then it's just like, they don't show a whole lot. And I'm wondering if they're just doing it to save for the movie.
Well,
and
Zendaya is Michi.
Yeah.
And LeBron James is Guanji. Danny DeVito is Dorgal. Common is Stonekeeper. And Zendaya is Michi. Gina Rodriguez is Kolka. And Zendaya is Michi. Zendaya is Michi.
I don't think we mentioned that enough. I don't know that. I mean, I guess now I'd like to now that we had a good look at the 2D animation, I think the coloring and the shading is what's bugging me about it, because
Yeah,
otherwise
like everything else looks good, but the shading makes it look weird.
It looks a little bit like those do you guys remember those like those web shorts from the early 2000s? Like I think one of them was like my generation generation gap.
Oh, I think I do. Yeah, it just looks, even though like the bounciness of the animation looks fine, I still get a small chuckle out of when Daffy tells Yosemite Sam to shoot the ball. But then it's like it goes a little overboard at the end, because once again, Granny's got to be the MVP, or trying to be the MVP of the whole movie, when it's like, I don't know, this whole movie looks like a mess.
Yeah, okay, so I guess so. Like I agree. So it's like if they're paying J.K. Rowling for whatever inevitable Harry Potter crossover they do, Lana Wachowski better be getting paid twice that for the Matrix segments.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. No, since you brought that up, I didn't even think about that. I'm worried if they're hiding all of the Harry Potter reference, like from the marketing and such, because it's like,
yeah, I guess it's the other possibility is that Rowling is like too stuck up and would like, I would never allow my characters to attend a space jam.
Even though Voldemort was in Lego Batman.
Yeah. And then I also liked the Ron's Gone Wrong panel.
Didn't
because
watch that.
It was cute. It was like, it seems like the team making the film are like really passionate about this. It seems like they're going for a more small scale story, which hey, I'm down for. And I know we just got the new trailer for it, and yeah, I mean, like the trailer didn't give me like the best first impression. The 6 feet distance joke was really funny.
I think that might be my favorite joke.
But the panel for it was a lot really interesting, and to hear them talk about the design process, the robot itself, and it's this pill-shaped robot definitely made me love it more. And they also teased a little of like what their next movie is going to be. It was really cute. They were the guy would come in from periodically. He said like, yeah, but can I talk about the movie I'm going to make? And they're like, no, not right now, not right now. Then at the end, the director is like, well, I hope y'all look forward to Ron's Gone Wrong. And then you see the guy picking up or like rising up from behind the couch with the books that the next movie they're working on is based on. Okay, it's going to be based off of the writing of this guy from this author, and now it's going to be called. And then the whole video glitches out. So it looks like it's going to be better than what we've seen, but well, I mean, we'll have to see. I know it's kind of might get buried because Disney's just like, what's this, a 20th century film? We don't want to advertise that. Move it away.
And for those who don't know, after Ron's Gone Wrong, Locksmith signed like a multi-picture deal with Warner Brothers. So if you don't see Ron's Gone Wrong, it may or may not be because Disney can sometimes be petty and bury things that they no longer have. And
they talked about the voice cast. Like the robot's going to be played by Zach Galifianakis. They have Jack Dylan Grazer as Ron. Olivia Colman plays his grandmother to Barney. I'm sorry. Jack Dylan Grazer is playing Barney, the main kid who gets the robot, who's voiced by Zach Galifianakis. And then Barney's dad is voiced by Ed Helms. They got Justice Smith, Rob Delaney, Kylie Cantrell, Ricardo Hurtado, Marcus Scribner, and Thomas Barbuska. Like I said, I love this behind the scenes stuff. It definitely gives me a little more hype than just seeing another trailer for it.
Okay, so I looked this up, and yeah, Harry Potter is in this latest Space Jam trailer.
Along with
the nuns from Ken Russell's The Devils. Yeah. So yeah, if you thought the Clockwork Orange droogs in the first trailer were a weird enough cameo.
Oh gosh, man, that freaking Space Jam too. I get people are looking forward to it. That's fine, perfectly a-okay. But I can't believe people don't see this as a cynical train wreck.
It is a cynical train wreck, but it's like a train wreck I can't look away from.
The best worst case scenario is that Space Jam: A New Legacy kind of becomes either the Mamma Mia 2, as in being a superior sequel to the original, or Cats as it being just a movie so batshit insane that it's both amazing and terrible at the same time.
Yeah. It's not going to be as amazing as Cats. Cats was like earnest and serious. They were like taking themselves way too seriously, and it was just a beautiful, artistic train wreck. This, if it's a train wreck, it's going to be a cynical corporate train wreck, which
Right.
is interesting and fun to mock, but it's not going to be as genuinely incredible to watch as Cats was.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Don't go in wanting to make a so bad it's good film, because then everyone's going to pick up on that. Go into it like, if you're just be passionate, even if it ends up like a heap. And then we also got, like, I don't know if this was shown during Annecy. It just kind of popped up during Annecy. We got to see our first teaser of the Uzumaki adaptation.
Yeah, which is delayed another year, but still looks incredible. So
yeah,
I'm glad they're taking their time, so I'm sure it'll be good.
Yeah, that was I'm so impressed with how well it looked. Like, the adaptation from the visuals and such.
It basically looks like the manga come to life.
I can't tell if they're rotoscoping the girl in the teaser, but man, if this is 2D animation, like Production IG or who's ever working on this, I think it's Production IG.
Yes, it is.
Man, kudos. Now, I wasn't a huge fan of the ending of it, but we'll have to see. Yeah, that really wraps up Annecy, because no movies to talk about. Unless, Reuben, you want to recommend a short?
Yeah, like I'd say, like, I wrote a list of my top 10 shorts from Annecy, and like, yeah, one of them, Affairs of the Art, was already mentioned. Have a Nice Dog was super impressively creepy. The World Within was like also like, it had like a psychological horror element, but it was also like beautiful. The Shaman's Apprentice was like nice for the stop motion animation and the Inuit culture. There were a lot of Loving Vincent-esque hand painted films. Of those, I thought that Darwin's Notebook was like the most interesting story of those. Bad Seeds was like one of the funniest. It's like other than the Boxer one, like this is like the closest to like Looney Tunes style comedy. Mom, I didn't understand, but I thought it was gorgeous. It's Awakening of the Insects. I thought the animation was kind of weak, but the story, he was really interesting. It's like an old man who's like losing his memory and visited by an exorcist in Hong Kong with the protests going on in the background.
Right.
Hold Me Tight, it's basically a giant sex scene, but it's like a really beautifully animated sex scene. So know what you're getting into with that one, and you might enjoy it. And also the Oscar nominee Opera was in the selection, and that was really cool.
Awesome. No, I saw Box Ballet, which I thought was very charming. I loved the little interactions and chemistry between the boxer and the ballerina. I saw Dream of Kafka, which didn't expect it to turn into part way a musical in its 8-minute run at the beginning.
Interesting.
I saw The World Within, which was about a young painter who's obviously and then, like I said earlier, the love affair with the arts, or affairs of the arts. That animation, golly, that's just impressive with how that all looks, and it's a little.
It made me want to go back and watch all the previous Barrel films that Joanna Quinn directed.
Yeah, it makes me want to watch those. What was it, like the Christmas special of The Snowman? Not the crime thriller thing with that actor.
Yeah. No, Mr. Police, you could have saved her. I gave you all the clues.
Oh, I think it's called The Snowman's Wonderland or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, I know the short you're talking about.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, other than that, that's it. I guess like the one thing I hope to see in the future is that they take a more serious approach to the online portion, because otherwise I'd be fine with it. I guess I'm so much harsher on it because Animation First and the New York Children's International Film Festival were so much better.
Well, Animation First,
those I think that
Animation First was a virtual festival, and that.
Oh yeah, no. I hope Animation as Film does not make the same mistakes Annecy does. I want to watch all the movies because I'm still not fully ready to travel in a plane.
I don't expect to see all the movies online, and I'm thinking like I'm confident enough that I probably would be up for traveling, assuming things stay as low as they are now or get lower. I have no expectations of everything being available because it doesn't make sense for everything to be available, but I hope that the stuff that is available is easier to find than it was on Annecy's website.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah,
yes, please.
I agree with that.
I guess it's since like Flea has a distributor, CryptoZoo has a distributor, Deer King and Bell, and so it's like it should be easier. It
might not be easier, it might actually be harder because the distributors want to be able to, because like remember that last year, like the films that screened online were the ones that had no hope of distribution.
Yeah, but since this, and I assume that Unicorn Wars is going to be a part of this since that's the whole poster and such.
Yeah,
and I think that really is what like deflated a lot of my happiness with Annecy, was seeing like, hey, animation and film is back, and it's just like, thank you.
Yeah, this is something we talked about off air, that like because of the Animation is Film Festival, I kind of felt like, well, we no longer have to treat Annecy like the end all be all.
Yeah.
Hopefully next year we can actually be in France.
Yeah, that would be fun. And hopefully, if everything's going well, I'd love to see y'all at Animation is Film, because I've had a blast the 2 times I've went, and it would be great to see some like-minded people there. Alrighty then,
So before I go, I just want to put in a plug for my webcomic.
Where can we find you, and what do you want to plug?
Yeah, I want to plug my webcomic, Con Job Revenge of the Samurai Alchemist. You can read it at tatas.io/series/con-job. It's about anime fandom, and it's getting pretty intense pretty soon. So yeah, you'll want to be reading this.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've been reading it. It's been really enjoyable. So, Mike, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Captain K42. You can check out all my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/Coach K42, and find me on all the various Facebook groups just at my name. Cameron, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Cam's Eye View. I have my own website at called camseyeview.biz, where I review animated films and shows called The Other Side of Animation. You can, of course, find me here co-hosting the podcast. And I have a Patreon at patreon.com/camseyeview. If you like my work, you can support me that way.
All right. Before we head out of here, just a couple reminders. You can check out Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. You can also find us on Podchaser. You can listen to all of our previous podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. Need an escape? So do we. That'll do it for this episode of Renegade Animation. Thank you guys for joining, and we will catch you guys later. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.